without further ado, what are we waiting for?
Yeah, I mean, let's just jump right in. I mean, forget all that. Let's jump right in.
Let's
So,
just dive in right now.
yeah, dive in like Michael Phelps. You dig? You know what I'm saying? So, first topic: Latinos and also the Japanese people. They are converting to Islam at a record pace. Now, I am not Stat Baby from the podcast Come and Talk to Me, right? Shout out to Mace Cameron Stat Baby. But I do have some stats in front of me. So I'm definitely going to read off some stats before I start with my premise on it, right? So just for some context, if we look at Latinos, by the Pew Research Center, right? This is their data. Said approximately 265,000 people in the U.S. are Muslims that are Latino, right? Latino is ethnicity, okay? So it can comprise of many different nations. So that's the first thing, 265,000 in the U.S. The majority of the converts for Latinos are women. And if we know that women are the backbone of our household and community, that has a large effect on what the family is going to do as well. So that's interesting to look at as well. And then when asked about why many people are actually converting to Islam, it all varies, right, from person to person. But what is being said is that people are feeling like they can reclaim their historical, heritage or right to how it used to be in Spain. You know, how the Moors used to rule over Spain. And in Europe, there were Muslims there for, I think, at least 8 centuries, if I'm not mistaken. I'm not sure.
Yep.
You can fact
You're
check
right.
me. Right? AB, am I right? I don't know if it's 8
Yeah, you're right.
centuries. Yeah,
8 centuries.
okay.
Yeah,
Thank you.
the
Thank you.
Muslims ruled at Andalus. You're right.
Yes, Andalus. Yes. So this is really good information. So a lot of people feel like they can reclaim and tap back into, those times. And so that made them curious of it. And they look back and say, you know what, I'm going to convert away from Catholicism. Right. And so that's something to think about as well. And in my personal view, I know in the U.S., a lot of the Latino Muslims come from New Jersey, New York, Florida, Illinois. And I know a couple of people that converted. They were of Dominican ethnicity. All right. So that personally, I know that, and everybody's reasons are varied. Now let's go to the Japanese. Okay. Let's set up that context. So from 2019 now, the religion, I think, is estimated to have grown 110%, right, in
MashaAllah.
Japan. So that's a pretty large number, right? So that's a really good jump, really good statistics. What else can we see? The first mosque in Japan was actually built in 1935. The Kobe Mosque, I think. I think it was Kobe Mosque. And it's not after Kobe Bryant, rest in peace, you know what I mean? But the Kobe Mosque. So 1935. Half of the Muslims that are Japanese that have converted are of Malaysian descent, Indonesian descent, and also Filipino descent. That's another key thing to recognize as well. And then the number of mosques have grown in the past 20 years. They went from 24, 2001, to 110 present day or even more, right? So alhamdulillah. So those are some of the background and facts on this case. Just to change up the voice and tonation a little bit, AB, what do you think about those statistics, and what is your personal feeling on this miraculous growth, subhanAllah?
First and foremost, mashallah. I expect this. Islam is one of the fastest growing religions on the planet. In terms of these stats, it's a given, especially us being Muslims. We are the flavor of the month, basically. So you know what I'm saying, like we are in the media left and right. Doesn't matter where you're from, where you grew up. Everyone's talking about Muslims. So there's a reason why we're a hot topic, hot discussion. Now, in terms of personal feelings, number one, I'm gonna keep it a buck. You know what I'm saying? Like Allah is the
You
greatest
should.
planner. Allah is the greatest planner of all planners. You know, so everything that's gonna happen will happen. Everything that's not gonna happen will never happen. And how it happened, Allah knows. And if it happens, He knows when it's gonna happen and how it's gonna happen and where it's gonna happen. So regardless, this is planned, divine. What do you call it? Intervention. So basically, now there's an ayah in the Quran. I forgot what surah it was. I forgot, but basically, it's a very beautiful ayah, and it translates to that this religion is a gift from Allah. Okay, so this was is a gift, and if you do not accept it, if you leave the fold of this religion, don't worry, Allah doesn't need you. There's 100 people that will replace you. Okay, so whether and we have, like, as Western Muslims, it's funny because we have these discussions and it's like, oh my God, brother, like you have to shave your beard, otherwise you can't hold your job. And it's like, no, like the beard is a symbol of the religion. You know what I'm saying? Or sisters feel like they can't wear their hijabs. Like obviously the hijab is like a very touchy topic for the sisters. It's their choice. I'm not gonna get into it. But it's, at the end of the day, you're wearing the hijab for Allah, or you have a beard for Allah. So that discussion is between you and your creator. Now, if you don't want to do something that has been decreed upon you, don't worry, because there's 100 people behind you that will easily replace you. You know? So this religion is a gift. It doesn't need you. You need it. You feel me? And
Absolutely.
and so when you see these people who are reverting back to Islam, it's, you can see it. It's they want it. It's the hunger. It's that they found the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. They found the treasure. They've, so
SubhanAllah.
that's why if you, like, you and I had this talk before. Why does it feel like reverts appreciate the religion more than people who were born
Hmm.
into the religion? Like, why does it feel like that? Why do people who were born into religion, they go through a period and then they circle back and then they start appreciating the religion? Like, like, so why is there a delay? So what is it that we're not seeing? Like, so that would be a good topic to study, and I would love to understand. Uh, but it's human beings, you know. So number one, that ayah is full proof that if you don't um, hold this religion with both hands and protect it, don't worry. There's people going to be after you immediately that will carry this religion on their shoulders, and with genuine love and authentic appreciation. Now, you mentioned a point pretty earlier. You said the biggest the biggest number of people who are what do you call it, converting back to Islam is females. It's women, right? It's girls,
For Latino community,
and
yes.
Latino community.
Communities. Hmm.
And you said something that the backbone of society is families, right? So we've deviated, like the family, the nucleus family. So the family unit is the most important unit in any society, because a society is basically a bunch of micro units of families comprised together, making a community, and then that community expands into a society.
Bingo.
Now, that's basically what it is. If you were to rip the meats and leave the bones, that's what you have. So what is it that's making these women convert? What are they gravitating towards? What's resonating with them? And Islam, contrary to popular belief that people want you to believe, um, it actually, what do you call it? It brings up women. Like
Hmm.
it champions females. It does all these things, and they see it and they understand it, because their culture also is very similar, like very feminine, very very motherly, and it allows both roles to cooperate. It allows both people to take care of the end goal, which is what? Raise a family for the sake of Allah, the Creator. You know, and that's how I see it. To me, these numbers are not surprising to me, because it goes back to the roots and the morals of human nature. Like, what are we? What is our purpose? Besides procreating, what's our purpose? Our purpose is to have faith, to see a higher being, to worship a higher being. um, and whether people or the media say otherwise, they're lying to themselves, because because you have to, if you're, whether you're worshiping a deity or you're worshiping money, human beings are put on this planet to have a purpose, and best believe, like, if it's not a deity, if it's not Allah, it's not it, you know. And Islam is the answer, and these people, so they found it and they appreciate it. It's that simple.
Yeah, yeah. I think you made a great point when you're breaking down just how important families are to actually making communities. This is the essence. You know, I remember someone asked me in a conversation one time, AB. They said, "What's the cure of helping the Black community?" Like, there's no cure, there's no magic
Ooh,
pill. You know, but what I would say is that if every individual family focuses on themselves, by
bingo.
default, they'll build the community up better.
Yes, yes,
And
yes.
so, once you just focus on your wife, your kids, your parents, and from the nuclear to the extended, right? Then we build those individuals, right? And the base of that is correct. And then if everyone else is doing that, you'll see a much better community.
You know,
Sometimes I feel like in the Black America, for example, there is a messianic approach where if Malcolm X is not here, how do we mobilize? If Martin
yes.
Luther King is not here, how do we mobilize? And that's not the case. You know, we should be looking at Allah, at our God, and we should also be looking into our family and saying, what can I do for my family to be the best man, to be the best leader? The wife should be asking herself about her role. The kids should be asking themselves the same thing about their role, and then everything else will take care of itself.
I was
Yeah.
reading the story of the Prophet recently, right? So I started a book called, I think I told you, Mercy to Humanity,
Yes, she did.
and
Yeah.
it basically chronicles the Prophet's upbringing, his whole life from when he was a child, sorry, before he was conceived, so his family, his parents, up until the point he was conceived, how he was raised, where he was raised, when he got the revelation, when he was giving da'wah, when he moved to Medina, all these chronological, what do you call it, moments, right? And you mentioned something very, very important right now, right? So there's an Arabic word called tawakkul, right? Tawakkul. So having your undying trust in Allah, right?
Hmm.
And um, the Prophet had one of the hardest upbringings ever. You know what I'm saying? He had Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, he had one of the hardest upbringings ever, where in a span of like a couple years, his father died before he was born,
Hmm.
his
Hmm.
mother dies, his grandfather dies, and then eventually his uncle dies, right? So and his uncle was the last form of protection, and then even his wife dies as well, so Khadija. And and this is a lesson in the sense that um Allah was trying, because in the book it said it, and it really hit me, because we as humans, we go through dark times, we go through so many dark times, whether it's the loss of a parents, or it's the bankruptcy, or it's divorce, or whatever it is. We go, this is the life is an experience, you know, life is
Right.
an experience. So there's dark times, there's good times, and it's trials and tribulations. But Allah, the author said, these times Allah was trying to teach the Prophet ﷺ. This is the Prophet, by the way. This is the Prophet, the most
Hmm.
beloved person to Allah, right?
Hmm.
Uh, and he was teaching the Prophet that your only dependency is me, no one else.
Mm. Subhanallah.
So there's nothing on this planet that you should be dependent on except for myself. Sorry, except for Allah, you know?
Hmm. Hmm.
And it shows you, and imagine, bro, this is the Prophet. Like who are we, bro? You know, who are we? So it's, and when I read that, I had to read it a couple, like at least 4 or 5 times to actually deep the meaning. And I'm like, man, like when I was going through XYZ moment, did I really like just submit completely to Allah and accept things, and fully believe that Allah can only get me out of this
Hmm.
situation? Did I truly believe that? Like, did I really commit to that thought? And then
Hmm.
if you really think about it, it's like, nah, bro, like you didn't,
Hmm.
because human beings, it's such a abstract thought if you really deep it, you know. So
Mm.
So
Yeah.
and this is a lesson, bro. So the Prophet, like, going through all these deaths, uh and losing all his protection, like losing your mother, losing your father before you were born, losing your grandfather who is the tribe leader, losing what do you call it, your uncle, your last form of defense, uh when you've gotten the revelation, losing your wife, there's so many. If you really peel the onion, there's so many layers, and
Hmm.
and and it's multifaceted. So subhanallah, man, like it's a very, and there's so many lessons that we can take from the Prophet ﷺ, that we can apply to our lives, because we think, we think as humans we're so, like, untouchable and invincible, but
Hmm.
subhanallah, it's
Yes.
funny.
It's remarkable. We can pull up a question like this, have a conversation, and even though we are the tangent kings, um, it's still relating to this actual subject, because early in those times of the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, on those
ﷺ.
times everyone was a convert.
Yeah.
You know, this is something that was not experience that you were going through by yourself. And I think when you're looking at the Latinos now, and then also the Japanese people, um, luckily, subhanallah, they have a community that they can tap into that's growing, and they can go into and learn a lot more about the religion.
True.
Because in the earlier times, like I said, it maybe you were the one of the first, but as it's growing and as it's peaking, you're only going to get it to be more stronger, especially with what's going on in the world today at this moment.
Mm.
People are going to really be peering into what's happening over there in the Middle East, and what's happening in Palestine, what's happening all over the world, in China, right, which is close to Japan, what's happening with the Rohingya Muslims and everywhere else. You're going to see these things, and people are going to be thinking to themselves, well, where do I stand in this, place of history?
Mm.
For me, it was Malcolm X, and my identity before I was Muslim was a black man, and I was like, this man was so convinced after Hajj, that he said, I have to be a Sunni Muslim. This is where it is for me. And we all have our moments and our times. And however it comes, whoever brings it, wherever we are, subhanallah, alhamdulillah, for that. However you get to the religion, just bring someone else with you. Let other people know, and let the nur shine off on you, that everybody can say something's different about him or her. Wow. You being yourself can bring people to the religion, inshallah. And so
Inshallah.
I just think that this is what I'm seeing now. This is what I'm reading about as well. And me being a revert, as well, I can also understand some of their thought process. For me, I had a community that helped me along. Shout out to the Islamic Center of New York University. Shout out to Imam Khalid Latif for always answering my questions, always being there for me. Shout out to all the families there that helped me answer questions. And I would steal books from you guys and never give them back, because I was just voracious with knowledge. Shout out to my barber, Abdul Najjar. Shout out to all these people that helped me through. If I don't name your name, I'm sorry. But you were also part of that journey as well. But it's all about community, and I think that's what we're talking about here today. And inshallah, we'll see hopefully more Latinos and Japanese people convert. And as we said before, you said this in another podcast episode, Islam blooms in hardships.
Facts. Yes.
Islam blooms in every nook and corner and cranny of this planet, right?
Sorry, that's the point that I forgot. I wanted to bring that up.
Okay, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
No, it's quickly. It was so every prophet, whether it's Noah, because Ibrahim came, with the religion, but
With the yeah, yes.
every prophet, so it's Noah and so forth. Do you know which people accepted the religion first? Do you know why? I mean, do you know which people?
No, go ahead. Tell me.
Actually, it was the people who were the poor people. It was the poor people. It was the people,
Absolutely.
what we would call, like, now, the hood, basically. You know what I'm saying? If
Yes.
you want to keep it 100%, you want to keep it a buck. It's
All day.
basically the poor, the needy. Those people were the ones that were willing to submit. It wasn't the rich, by the way. It wasn't the rich. And the people that gave the most pushback to the prophets was the rich, was the nobles.
Yes, it was.
It was the
Yes.
nobles, and these
Mm-hmm.
people and the nobles, and this is obviously one of the many tactics of shaitan and so forth. And the nobles would say, "Hey, we'll accept your religion, whatever you're trying to preach, we'll accept it. But make sure you get these people that are
Mm-hmm.
currently following you, get them out, okay?" And they wanted to, and obviously, it's called in the deen, in the religion. There's no such thing as classism. There's no elites.
Mm-hmm.
There's no classism. That's actually against the religion. So
Right.
every prophet said, no, like, these people, who am I to tell these people to not submit to Allah, to not pray to Allah, to not do XYZ for Allah? And that, and then, it's, if you really look at the history and the seerah of each prophet, like the stories of the prophet, it's the same stories, like, over and over again. Like, it's the same stories. Like, it's literally, a prophet comes, preaches about the oneness of God, stop worshiping idols. The people in power are doing some kind of sin, whether it's Sodom or Gomorrah, or it's whatever, like, it's a Qawm Ad, or whatever it is. They're doing something,
Mm.
riba, or whatever, and then the prophet says, "Don't do this." And the prophet has a very small following of not influential poor people, because the nobles are the ones that are doing all this, and they're partaking in all this, like, debauchery, or whatever they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
And then they will start saying things like, it goes, all right, cool, we'll follow you, we have to get rid of these people. And the prophet says, no, I'm not doing it. And then the next thing goes to what? It goes to, okay, if you're a prophet, then prove that you're a prophet, and what's it called, bring us a miracle. So the prophet is a miracle, okay? Prophet Musa did it. Every prophet has a miracle, by the way. Every prophet has a miracle.
Mm-hmm.
Then the miracle happens. Then some of these people from the top, they might be swayed, and they'll follow, but majority of them will not follow. Okay. Then they will start saying things like, "Oh, this guy's a magician. This guy's crazy." Then they
Mm-hmm.
start, like, it's the same playbook. It's the same playbook, rinsed and recycled. And then after that, then most likely, once it gets to that point, then one of them, obviously influenced by shaitan, will say, "We have to kill this guy. We have to kill him. We have
Mm-hmm.
to get rid of him. We have to kill him and his followers, whatever it is." And it always happens the same way. It always happens the exact same way.
Well, AB, that's not too far off from where we are now.
You true?
Rich
Right.
people who have power, they do
Yeah.
the same thing. What's the fastest way to discredit you? To say you're crazy,
Bingo.
right?
Bingo.
Oh, this
Bingo.
person's crazy. They don't know what they're talking about. You see what they did the other day,
Yeah.
and things like that. So it's still the same playbook, and it's fascinating how we are in 2024 and we're still talking about the same playbook, right? So interesting. But
Bro,
yeah.
shaitan rinses and recycles. It's nothing new. Uh, we're just living in a time right now where what every prophet was preaching against, we're seeing it
Mm-hmm.
in 4K everywhere in the world now, and it's crazy, because that's where we're at right now as humans.
Yeah. What's the aspect that's higher than 4K? Is it 2180? I don't know.
2180,
Right?
8K.
They
I don't
seen
know,
the
man.
2180
We're
Cyclops
seeing
vision. You
we're
know
seeing
what I
it
mean?
live, live.
What's that surgery you're getting? Yeah, LASIK surgery. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? They got it live and direct. So it's
man.
very clear. Even Stevie Wonder can see it. You know what I'm saying? So it's very clear. Um, this is a great topic, but I'm so happy we get to move on to this next one as well, right? Because this is your wheelhouse, and I
This is
really,
my
really want
world.
to hear from you
It's
on
my
this one.
world.
Yeah, it's definitely your world. Before I transition to the next one, I want to shout out to all the Latinos around the world and the Japanese people, wherever you are, that are thinking about Islam, or the ones who have made the leap and are now practicing the deen. I wish you all luck. It's not luck.
Inshallah.
It's going to be your divine steps, right? But I wish you all the best in that journey. And this is a wonderful deen. This is a wonderful life. If you ever have any questions, please contact us. I'm a revert myself. So I would always be open to talk to people. Love to have those conversations. You get it?
Oh,
Conversations.
okay, okay. I see
Would
you.
love to have that, you know? I didn't steal that though, AB. Actually, I did steal it. It's not me. I didn't create that, AB. That was from my Imam Khalil Latif. he always had the conversations. Every week he has a gathering where converts can come and talk to Muslims about their experience of Islam and answer any questions they have. So that was from my Imam. He always had the
MashaAllah.
conversations series, you
MashaAllah.
know. So shout out
MashaAllah.
to Imam Khalid Latif. All right. So we're going to move on to the next subject.